this is by Rainer Maria Rilke, whom I discovered a long time ago, I think through Colin Wilson actually. I read a book called The Outsider when I was about 19, and he introduced me to several writers. I was so struck by The Outsider, as a lot of people were in the 60s, and I thought, God, I feel like an outsider in this crazy world. And Colin Wilson wrote a lot of other books, one after the other. He's still very prolific, but he's into something rather old, I think, now. But he's not a university-trained person, but he's read an awful lot and has a great intelligence, and he introduced me to Rilke and Scott Fitzgerald, who's a romantic outsider. And even Nietzsche, I think, and people like that, Sartre. Anyway, I was so glad that I started reading him. I just discovered him in the local library when I lived in Sussex. Anyway, it was through him I discovered Rilke and Rimbaud, the French poet. But of course, Rilke is, when he's read in German, I think. He was actually born in Czechoslovakia, I can't remember. Anyway, he's known as a German poet. And he had a very strange life. He was once a secretary to Rodin, the sculptor in Paris, who helped him a lot. And also Balthus knew him when he was a child, I think. And he was a mystic, a mystical poet. This is called The Rose Interior. Wherefore this inner's waiting an outer, what pains partake such lawns alleviating, what heavens are contemplating themselves in the inland lake of these wide open roses, these all unheeding. See how rootless their repose is, as never could possibly some quivering hand be spilling, themselves their whole endeavour scarce holds, and many are willing to be filled to overflowing with inner space and stream into the days, forever fuller and fuller growing, till summer has all become a chamber within a dream. This is one about death. It's on the death of a friend of his, called Death Experienced. We know just nothing of this going hence that so excludes us. We've no grounds at all to greet with plaudits or malevolence the death whom that death mouth of tragical lament disfigures so incredibly, the world still full of parts being acted by us, till pleasing in them cease to occupy us. Death will too act too, although unpleasingly. When, though you went, there broke upon this scene a shining segment of realities. In at the crack you disappeared through, green of real green, real sunshine, real trees. We go on acting, uttering what exacted such painful learning, gesturing now and then, but your existence and the part you acted, withdrawn now from our play and from our ken, sometimes recur to us like intimations of that reality and of its laws, and we transcend a while our limitations and act our lives unthinking of applause. It's written in January 1907. I think I'd also like to read now Rilke's First Elegy, which like very much from the Duino elegies. I don't know German, so I can't read it in German. It's the First Elegy. Who, if I cried, would hear me among the angelic orders, and even if one of them suddenly pressed me against his heart, I should fade in the strength of his stronger existence, for beauty's nothing but beginning of terror we're still just able to bear, and why we adore it so is because it serenely disdains to destroy us. Every angel is terrible, and so I repress myself and swallow the cool note of dark sobbing. Alas, who is there we can make use of? Not angels, not men, and even the noticing beasts are aware that we don't feel very securely at home in this interpreted world. There remains perhaps some tree on a slope to be looked at after day. There remains for us yesterday's walk and the long-drawn loyalty of a habit that liked us and stayed and never gave notice. Oh, and there's night when wind full of cosmic space feeds on our faces. For whom would she not remain longed for, mild disenchantress, painfully there for the lonely heart to achieve? Is she lighter for lovers? Alas, with each other they only conceal their lot. Don't you know yet? Fling the emptiness out of your arms to broaden the spaces we breathe. Maybe that the birds will feel the extended air in more fervent flight. Yes, the springs had need of you. Many a star was waiting for you to perceive it. Many a wave would rise in the past towards you, or else perhaps as you went by an open window a violin would be utterly giving itself. All this was commission, but were you equal to it? Were you not still distraught by expectancy, as though all were announcing some beloved's approach, as if you could hope to house her with all those great strange thoughts going in and out and often staying overnight? Should you be longing, though, since the great lovers, the fame of all they feel is far from immortal enough? Those you envied them almost, those forsaken you found so far beyond the requited in loving, begin ever anew their never attainable praise. Consider, the hero continues, even his setting was a pretext for further existence and ultimate birth, but lovers are taken back by exhausted nature into herself, as though such creative force could not be exerted twice. Does Gaspara Stampa mean enough to you yet, and that any girl whose beloved has slipped away might feel from that far intenser example of loving, could I but become like her? Should not those oldest sufferings be finally fruitfuler for us? Is it not time that, in loving, we freed ourselves from the loved one, and quivering endured, as the arrow endures the string, to become, in the gathering out leap, something more than itself, for staying is nowhere. Voices, voices, hearken, my heart, as only saints once hearkened, so that the giant's call lifted them off the ground. They, though impossibles, went on kneeling and paid no heed. Such was their hearkening. Not that you could bear God's voice by a long way, but hark in the suspiration, the uninterrupted news that grows out of silence, rustling towards you now from those youthfully dead. Whenever you entered a church in Rome or in Naples, Were you not always being quietly addressed by their fate? Or else an inscription sublimely imposed itself on you, as lately the tablet in Santa Maria Formosa. What they require of me, that I should gently remove the appearance of suffered injustice that hinders a little at times their purely proceeding spirits? True, it is strange to inhabit the earth no longer, to use no longer customs scarcely acquired, not to interpret roses and other things that promise so much in terms of a human future, to be no longer all that one used to be in endlessly anxious hands, and to lay aside even one's proper name like a broken toy. Strange not to go on wishing one's wishes. Strange to see all that was once relation so loosely fluttering hither and thither in space, and its hard being dead, and full of retrieving before one begins to perceive a little eternity. All of the living, though, make the mistake of drawing too sharp distinctions. Angels, it's said, would be often unable to tell whether they moved among living or dead. The eternal torrent whirls all the ages through either realm forever, and sounds above their voices in both. They finally no more need of us, the early departed. One's gently weaned from terrestrial things as one mildly outgrows the breast of a mother. But we that have need of such mighty secrets, we for whom sorrow so often source of blessedest progress, could we exist without them? Is the story in vain, how once in the morning for Linus, venturing earliest music pierced barren numbness, and how in the startled space an almost deified youth suddenly quitted forever, emptiness first felt the vibration that now lifts us and comforts and helps. Actors, sky-towering exaggerators, the crushing downfall of careering horses, casting away their sight, flashing their teeth as though the skull were peeling from the mouth. But now you know how such things are forgotten, for now before you stands the bowl of roses, the unforgettable, entirely filled with that extremity of being and bending, prefer beyond all power of giving, presence that might be ours, that might be our extreme.